Well, hello there. My name is Noir Nicholas Nickelwith, your local bar hopper. If there is one thing I associate with Spider-Man, it's the ungodly amount of merchandise and some of the most depressing storylines in fiction. But not as depressing as the ending to Edge Runners. No, David, you are the moon. You were supposed to be with her. The one thing I love about characters' marketability is how writers bring new life into other iterations of said character, like Miles Morales, Miguel O'Hara, and even Hobie Brown over here. But none quite hit like the 1930s Nazi slugger, suppression avenger, Peter Parker of Earth 90214, aka Spider-Man Noir, now played by Nicolas Cage. Spider-Man Noir was another alternate Peter Parker story set during the Great Depression in the 1930s New York City, who went around taking down evil rich guys like Norman Osborn, literally every working class American's wet dream. And just recently we got the show after the huge success of the Spider-Verse films. But also at the same time, we're getting a new installment in the Tom Holland Spider-Man series coming July 30th. No, this is not sponsored, but it's insane how many Spider-Man projects we're getting all at once. I guess Sony thought it was about time to branch out and try something different. And to be honest, I'm happy they did. So enough wasting time, let's discuss whether this Sony show is worth a watch.
We follow the story of Ben Reily. What the fuck?
Okay, let me explain. Ben Reily in the comics is actually a clone of Peter Parker, who sometimes takes on his persona to do whatever it is he does. But then he went on to become his own version of the Spider, the Scarlet Spider. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, but I thought this was the same character. They're both played by Nicolas Cage. Well, it seems to me we have another case of Ghost Rider-itis, where there's a huge mystery as to whether or not the character is the same character as the one before, or if this is a completely alternate reality. If you remember in the Ghost Rider movies, Nicolas Cage plays both versions of Ghost Rider, but yet, in a way, they are both completely different movies. Like the lore just does not compute the same as it did in the first one. And to tell you the truth, I'm actually not too sure whether they are the same guy or not. I believe they are, just for simplicity's sake. But to answer your question about the name and why he's named Ben Reily instead of Peter Parker, watch the show to figure that out.
Anyway, like I said, this world takes place during the Great Depression, where everybody is strapped for cash, like Ben Reily's detective agency, and his secretary and fellow investigator Janet Ruiz. Ben here is a far cry from the optimistic, friendly neighborhood Peter Parker we know and love. After being bit by a actual human spider, he would later gain all the powers of a spider, webs and all. Soon enough, Ben meets with a club owner nicknamed Cat Hardy, Slick, whose motives at the start are a little mysterious, never really knowing which side she's on. We also follow a little B-plot with a photographer named Robbie Robertson, no,
not again!
Who actually works for the Daily Bugle, taking on the role of a photographer, like how Peter Parker used to.
Isn't it kind of interesting we don't actually get Spider-Man being a photographer anymore?
And it looks like we got a total of 4 Sinisters in this show. Sandman, Tombstone, and Megawatt.
What, did you think that was Electro? I'm joking, yeah, I thought so too. It actually took a lot of Googling to figure out that wasn't him.
Led by an underground kingpin named Silvermane. To be honest, Silvermane himself is just your run-of-the-mill mob boss that thinks he's the hot stuff. Not a lot to dig into there. However, our favorite trio of Spider-Man villains have been reinvented with a pretty horrific origin for their powers due to experiments performed during World War I.
The spider himself is pretty interesting, but the fact that this Spidey's webs are also organic, and they're black, because that's edgy and cool and 30s magic, baby. That's gonna make 3 live-action Spider-Man with organic webbing. Maybe 4 if you want to count Topher Grace's Venom.
And of course, the show is shot and produced like a 30s style gangster movie, with Prime Video giving you the option to watch the show in either true hue color or authentic black and white, baby. Why couldn't HBO Max just do this for Snyder when he made 2 more Justice League movies?
And so, do I believe the show deserves a 9 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes on both sides, mind you? Well, let's discuss that. And spoiler alert, it's a shocking yes.
Okay, so what I'm about to read to you was the top review for Spider-Noir on IMDb. And this review is by Satoru Jojo. I'm gonna read it verbatim, so enjoy. Listen up, you jive turkeys. Spider-Noir is a master of human and spider genius. I don't know about you, but I've been waiting for a superhero show that doesn't feel like it was written by a spreadsheet and approved by a focus group. We needed something gritty. We needed something weird. We needed something that smells like cheap cigarettes and existential dread. And we got Spider-Noir. Isn't just as good as... Wait. No. Oh. Oh shit, my script. Isn't just good. It's a vibrant, bloody, hilarious miracle of television that proves the only thing more powerful than spider senses is a man absolutely committed to chewing the scenery. I mean, come on, I don't think I need to say any more. I mean, he said everything I needed to.
Now that is honestly a fucking great quote. Now yes, I agree. This is a very gritty comic book show. And honest to God, I kinda like it over the original comic. Because of the way they managed to blend so many different genres into a well-done, all-around practical set with very little CGI for the most part. And the actors give their all in each performance, particularly Megawatt, who is just a charismatic psycho. And that is something I hoped for from Alistair from season 2 of Hazbin Hotel. How does this big fat electric guy from the Brooklyn outdo a fucking radio demon? But also Ben, Janet, and Robbie give particularly standout performances as the heroes in the story, in a world where everybody else has done evil acts at least a few times in their lives, let's be honest. Except for Iman, the bartender. He seems pretty cool. But yeah, overall, I would say with all the great acting, character development, and style, I give Spider-Noir a 9 out of 10 on the professional ratings. Thank you, Sony, for taking time to make yet another genuinely fun and interesting piece of media. But fuck you for actually ending physical media. Little bitch.
I actually really like Robbie, similar to Janet, but what makes Robbie interesting to me is the fact that he takes on the role of a photographer and glorified detective. But like any other character in the show, his origins are very different, but in a way I didn't really see coming.
I was pleasantly surprised to realize in Sam Raimi's trilogy of Spider-Man movies, the editor that had Spider-Man's back was actually Robbie. I did not even know he was a real character to consider in the grand scheme of things until I just found out about this. And sadly, the actor that played him, Bill Nunn, passed away a little while back, which I'm honest to God kind of sad about. I wish we could have seen him in a lot more things. Maybe I gotta check out his whole movie catalog. The origin of Spider-Man Noir's outfit is also pretty interesting in both versions of the story.
In the OG comic, his first suit was kind of just freestyled by Peter, which if you ask me, are some of Spidey's best kind of suits. I'll never forget that first one. But then, near the halfway point of the story, he finally gets that iconic mask and jacket, which actually belonged to Uncle Ben during his time in the war.
And I like to believe that's what the Spider's outfit is based on, because Ben was in the military in this show. So it must have been like a refurbished flight suit from when he was in the war. That is a brilliant, unique way of reincorporating the original outfit with a new character and interpretation. So here's a little science fact for you. Spiders in real life can run out of silk if they use too much in a short amount of time. And to fix it, they eat their own webs to keep the flow of silk coming strong. That is really gross, but goddamn, spiders are hardcore, man. You forget that sometimes. I could never eat my own shit if it meant to save my life or anybody else's. But the point is, the reason why Ben's webs are organic this time around is because he has silk running through his whole body, apparently, meaning his body is more biologically accurate to a spider than any other Spider-Man in film. Nicolas Cage has even stated himself how he tried to keep his performance up as if he is a real spider, and how the powers that Ben has to deal with are also a bit of a hindrance on his body in some unique, weird ways. And also, I just said Ben is the more biologically accurate spider than any other Spider-Man in film. I might be wrong when the 30th comes around. Unless you want to argue Tobey is also just as accurate as these two. I don't want to, though. Plus, Tobey's webs behave more like Spider-Man's web shooters, where it's just infused into his wrist with virtually an infinite amount of webbing coming out. He just needs to go to therapy once in a while to make sure the webs don't get blocked again. Meanwhile, Ben's over here running low on the stamina meter on his web fluid all the damn time.
They should know that I have stamina because they've clearly already me once, okay?
No, not now. Oktoberfest!
So before we talk, I just gotta say, I love how Nicolas Cage acted in this show. It's like I can totally buy his performance as an overworked drunk who also just so happens to be half spider, just trying to do some good in the world. But then also gives us some of that Nick Cage flair thrown in there as well, making Ben Reily troubled and flawed, but also like really funny. And you know, it seems like Sony has a pretty weird streak of making mid to horrific movies, but then coming out with some real money-making masterpieces. How the hell do they keep doing it? Sony Pictures is kind of like Adam Sandler, where he shows he can make amazing movies, but also chooses to do a bunch of like goofy movies with his friends. That's kind of how that feels with Sony. And if you ask me, which way do you prefer to watch the show? Black and white or color? And I say both versions work very well for the time period the show is emulating. I like how saturated the color is to emphasize what you are looking at, and not to mention how Ben's outfit actually does have a bit of color to it. But I also believe the black and white really gets across some of the horror and mystery this show takes inspiration from, and also the time-specific cinematic moments and camera work, I think, makes it go a long way. But also, if I were to be honest, I completely forgot this show came out when it initially did. I'm a huge Spider-Man Noir fan. Like, I love the original comic. I love the character all around. I know I might have said before that I didn't read the comic, but that was because I just haven't read it in a long time. And I completely forgot it was just a reworked story of Peter Parker's origin to fit with the time period. Which is why I like this show so much, because it's not just Peter Parker, but it's also a version of Spider-Man where the world itself is the 30s. And Nicolas Cage acts, or not just him, but all the characters act with that same like bravado and kind of enthusiasm, if you will. Like how a lot of older movies were more like taken from their musical roots, because that's what acting was mostly associated with, was Broadway and musicals and acting out your performance, you know? So I like that little bit of flair and energy that these old 30s movies and TV shows give, because they're just so engaging, you know? And that's why I kind of like the idea of a black and white Spider-Man during the like early days of filmmaking. But also, since I'm in a bit of a time crunch to get this video done, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Comic Drake, New Rockstar, and Comic Historian. Your video on Spider-Man Noir actually helped a lot to remember how that original comic went. So rest in peace, brother. You were a real one. Thank you to these guys for giving insight into the show itself and giving detailed explanations for the original comic plot and how they relate to the show. But anyway, yeah, that was my review of Spider-Man Noir. What did you guys think of this show? Because genuinely, I really like it. I think it's a really good Spider-Man story. I'm also just shocked. I'm a little bit shocked because I didn't think we would actually be getting anything like that for Spider-Man Noir, because it just seems like a rarity nowadays that we ever get projects like this where we explore completely new ideas with our characters in the mainstream media. Like, you can see plenty of one-off stories and Elseworld stories from the DC side of things with all the like bargain bin DVDs that you find at Walmart or just scrolling on HBO Max and you see all the Batman animated movies that have happened. Those are a lot of fun. And those are some of the most peak Batman movies and like superhero movies in general. But the fact we're getting a story like this in the mainstream media does give me a little bit of hope that we're going to be seeing a lot more creative projects out there with existing IP. Like, maybe we'll even get a Batman Gotham by Gaslight movie. Like, I know everybody wants that Batman Beyond live action adaptation, but honestly, I want to get more niche with it. I want to get to Gotham by Gaslight. I want to see a movie or show about Batman Zur-En-Arrh. I want to see like Batman fused with Superman. I'm looking at my shelf right now. So many different things now, like all of them. And I think this show gets the idea, the Pandora's box, if you will, for getting to see more niche, heartfelt projects like this. That's just like, it resonates with you, man. It just resonates with you. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. You just got to check it out for yourself. I recommend it to anybody who's a fan of Spider-Man. I recommend it to anybody who just wants to try something different. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day and night. And I'm gonna light up one of these. Oh, you bitch. I just put fluid in you. There we go. And I'll see you guys next time.
We are not given a good life, or a bad life. We are given a life. It's up to us to make it a good or bad one. Unknown. I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one, and I believe it could be someday. It's going to come. Cat Stevens. The deepest peace we will ever know is when we tenderly touch the heart and soul of another unknown.
Oh, hey, Jordan. What are you doing? Saging your room or something?
Yeah. Trying something different.
Okay. Me and Dad are gonna light up a doink if you want to join.
Yeah, I'll be up in just a sec.
All right. See you in a second.